Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another RTS game. This is Rebirth of Glory. We have been playing this for close to a year now. I think we started right around March, perhaps. So I was looking for a new game after we departed on the previous games, and I was looking at this, and I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. At that time when we played the game, there is no spending. It was really just, really in the early stages of beta. Now, we're still in beta, like a year closer to when we started. Now, I did believe that I saw in the Discord that the development team do not want to rush the process in order that they can develop the game properly, which I completely agree, although it's really taken a long time to develop this. I assume that the development team has a smaller team of people developing the game. Now, this game I like the game. I would say if I was going to rate this game, it's probably going to be 8 out of 10 on the, great, scale that we made up. This game is really good. There's a lot of great features that they have done, and I think the hero systems is nice. The battle systems is nice, but there is, of course, flaws in the game as well. One thing I should say, the rewards are very nice. If you're looking for a reward-based game, this game definitely gives you a lot of rewards, and you can definitely progress pretty fast if you are active. But here's the thing. If you are a spender in the game, it seems like, you know what I'm going to say, I've been an advocate of this to, limit the spending because I was looking for more of a free-to-play game, so I've been an advocate of it as well. But I realized as the introduction of the mall in this game is that the spenders are heavily disfavorable, basically. I don't know what the right term, my English, I'm sorry. ESL, man. They're not very favorable into the game. So if you're a spender coming into the game, you probably might get turned off a little bit because there is no way for you to spend to become dominant, which a lot of the other games allows you to do that. But in this game, they do cater towards the free-to-play and try to balance the game. So that, in fact, is a great thing, I should say, because I like that. I like that part. But the bad thing about that is growth if you are in a new server. I'll explain that in a little bit in here. But let me first talk about some of the things that I actually like in the game. First of all, I want to let you know that I absolutely like the Call of the Arms event that they have done. This, every day, you're going to be able to get some gems. So gem-wise, you're never going to suffer in this game because you'll always have gems. Just because by doing the Call to Arms event, there is also this enchanted treasure, which I really like because they do pair it up with the roulette. I like that because they're not greedy on the events. The power boost, which before there is a ranking in here, they removed it. And there's always, events going on. There's always rewards, and they're very generous on the rewards. That is one thing that I will tell you, that the game is absolutely generous on the rewards. Now, they had added new thing in here because they want you to basically compete for heroes. Since they did not introduce ability to basically whale up and get your tech high, they need to make money, and this is one thing that they have done, which I think it's a good idea to allow the competition to further progress in the game, is that once you max out a hero, you can still upgrade them and get fraction of buff to using your tokens. So basically, if this is a top lord hero, per se, like Aaron, you can still compete for Aaron, and then you're going to be able to continue to upgrade Aaron in the Codex upgrade feature. So that's one thing that they have done. Basically, my thought process here is that, hey, they cannot make money on the knowledge point, to which a lot of people will probably want to get if they can, get it and up in progress. So what they do is that, hey, let's introduce another form of way for us to gain revenue, which is completely fine. The game absolutely needs revenue to live and progress and sustain. If they cannot have revenue, they're not going to sustain. Another thing that I absolutely like, that I've mentioned this many, many times when I first started into the game, is the free healing of troops. As you can see, we just had a battle, and now we have a lot of troops to heal, so I'm just casually healing them as I go here in the game. And then another thing is that the dead troops as well, with the revive here in the Valkyrie Temple, you can resurrect fallen soldier. Those are the things that I like. And then here, I really like this as well, the mercenary barracks in here, because you can get free troops every single day basically. So that's really nice. Now, another thing that I liked before, but they changed it. So this used to give you 30% transport node capacity. Now they changed it to 10%. So just imagine this. If you are a new player and you are now going to face off all the older players like me who had benefited on the 30% transport capacity, that means my progress in the game was a lot faster in the early stages compared to you. So that's a negative thing for new players and a positive thing for older players. So that's one thing to also consider as you need to understand here, because eventually you are going to compete with older players in the game. And if you're a new player, you're significantly at a disadvantage unless older players slow down and eventually quit, and then other players from newer servers can rise up. But the big point here is that when older players slow down, they will then not progress as much, and then other players can catch up. We've seen this. I've seen this in S4. Some of the S4 grinded a lot, and they were able to catch up. And I think they've also used a lot of gems. So now with the spending, let me talk about this, because this is quite important in the game. First of all, I don't want to talk about all the wars and battles, because really there is no content on war in this game. I tried to record last week when we were in the tribe mobilization, whatever. They changed the name, and by the way, they keep changing the name. So I'm like, I didn't want to make a lot of videos because all the names have changed. Top Chieftain used to be Top Lord. They keep changing it, so it's really hard for algorithm wise to be searched if I make video and then they change the name. But anyway, the previous event where we had to teleport to another server, and I teleported, and I'm like, everybody's shielded. Like, there's no content. There's nothing to record. There's no war. There's nothing. And all the things is that pretty much you swarm people. There's really no rally utilization because there's no competing against flags. There's no competition really. But again, we are still in beta, and I think they will eventually release something like a more rigorous battlefield in the future. But right now, it's kind of hard to create contents regarding to the war, and those the reasons why I'm not really going to talk about warfare right now, because to be honest, at the end of the day, the game is still in the Farmville stage, and the only really battle that you pretty much do is with bots in here, and at the same time compete in the Arena of Legends. And the Arena of Legends, I was looking at it, I didn't see much S5 really ranking on the high tops, because they're newer servers and they're not going to be able to compete against the older servers. So they'll always be behind because they're not going to get the rewards, because they cannot, for the love of God, even spend money to reach to the top rankings. So let's talk about the mall. All right, the mall, I think, is very important that we talk about this. Now, I want to say I like the game. It's really great to chill, become more of like a Farmville type of setup in here, because again, there's no real big wars yet. And I think I kind of stopped a little bit about a month and a half because I was on a vacation just grinding and farming and then just killing monsters as much as I can. It's fun, but at the same time, everybody plays differently. I play differently than others. I like to be more casual now. After 6 years of grinding or 5 years of grinding with other games, it burns you out. So I just want to be able to chill, have some fun, and compete. But here's the thing. If you are a new player coming in 2025, maybe going into new server if they release a new server, and or going to try to join, older server or newer server, I need you guys to understand that without the spending into the knowledge point, to which we're going to talk about the mall, in here the knowledge points is what you need to do your research. So this is the knowledge point right here. It's going to be a production base, right? There is no way to buy that in the bundle. Another way to get it is through the merit shop, but you're only limited 5, but everybody can get it. That means there's really no special condition towards to if you're going to be spending money in the game. So basically what you need to do is do it this way, boost your scholar circle. What you need to do if you are going to spend money, you'll have to grind and put a lot of time. And we know a lot of the spenders probably don't have a lot of time because they have to run business, they have to run other stuff. Therefore, you have to grind it by consuming your gems to buy pots and kill monsters. But in that terms, you also get a lot of benefit. But at the same time, the progress is slow because you have to wait. But in reality, if you are a new player, you will not be able to catch up with the older player unless they absolutely slow down or they eventually quit. Then you can catch up. That's the reality. Because if there is, you know what? I was definitely an advocate of saying that. No selling of knowledge points. But then I come to a realization that it is actually flawed if newer players cannot catch up. I feel bad for the newer players because they'll never be able to compete against older players. They're always going to be held back. Even if they put a lot of time and grind it, they're not going to be able to catch up. It's going to take a long time until everybody is like pretty much in a stable, like max out tech already. But let's look at the mall here, all right, the shop. So this is going to give you tokens, which is what I like. This is perfect for the super monthly pass. I think that's really amazing. And then you get some tax agreement, you get gold. Gold's not even an issue in this game for the, whenever you're doing research or upgrading your resources in the city, the inner resources. Now, there's this thing. I would say stack up on this before you open up all this. You don't have to open it up every single time. Daily hero boosters. This is great for, Vol, and then you get some special cartogram for $5 in here. Some says it's a little bit more expensive, but I think you get a lot more value as well. Now, here's the daily must buy. This is mainly speed ups and a little bit of resources in here as well. So this is just traditional. They don't have a resource pack, actually, which is kind of interesting. I didn't even realize that because I haven't really been making any purchases very much. They don't have a resource pack there. But here's the weekly bundle, the artifact. So here's the thing. No matter how much you spend on artifacts, even if you have the best artifacts, if you cannot get T5 or T6 right away, and you're competing with other players who has T5 and T6, even if you have the highest artifact, you're not going to be able to beat them with a T4. So no matter how much you spend in this one, it won't make a dent and won't make a value. And this thing is, you don't really need this leather. What you really need is the tempered steel. Now, when we look into the other values in here, this is going to be a resource bundle. Okay, so there is a resource bundle. All right, so there's that. Again, what you have to do in this game is that you have to buy bundles and use your gems, spend it on defeating monsters, right? As you defeat the monsters, you are potentially can be able to regenerate your gems through that way as well, get the reimbursement from that. But the thing is, time is the bottleneck now for the spenders. It's the time that you have to put into the game. You'll have to spend a lot more time than the older players have done to catch up. So you'll have to pretty much grind 24/7 if you really want to catch up and you really want to dedicate yourself and be immersed in a video game. So the weekly curio as well. This is another thing. I don't even buy this. Here's the thing. Not gonna make a whole lot of difference if you cannot get T5. These things have no big value. Only thing that will have a value for these things that you buy is your server competition. But as long as there is a cross-server competition and they don't introduce T5, they don't introduce a way to obtain more of the knowledge point. Maybe they should sell. I'm not saying that they should sell knowledge point directly. I'm saying they should probably sell transport boost or something like that to allow players, and then maybe let the time runs in there. But by having the transport boost, I think it'd be better than selling the knowledge point directly. But I think if there is some certain amount of knowledge point to be sold, perhaps that's fine. And then as well as transport boost, because the newer players will probably never, ever be able to catch up. So that's one thing that I find flaws on the suggestions that I've made before. The weekly hero bundle, again, even this one, even if you have max out heroes and you have T4, you're not going to win against a T5 or a T6. There is just no way. The stats of T5 and T6 is highly much greater than T4. And then here's a weekly speed up bundle as well. Then we'll have regular bundles in here. Again, I will go back to the statement that I've said. You will need to basically use your gems, grind monsters. You can do auto grinding if you want, but no one's really going to be doing that. I think that feature is not that great. It doesn't even run and wait and then attack. So that's what you got to do, is you really need to put in a lot of time if you're a brand new player, and you have to think about, do you really have a lot of the time? The game is absolutely great. This is the basic combo packs in here. Great as well. I mean, you get to buy this enchanted chips for the roulette event. So this one, you get to use that. So in that sense, you don't have to use your gems, right? Because you can just buy that and then you get gems basically, but you'll have to spend a lot instead of utilizing your gems into spending into that. So it's kind of catch-22 as well. They did a nice thing here onto the admin hall. Now you have to go to level 30 as well. You get a lot of gems for $20. I think that's a good thing. And then there is also gem bundles here in the game. So honestly, in my opinion, I think this game still has a lot of potential. If you want to chill and play and grind, yes, this is really a perfect game. But if you're trying to be competitive, if you're a spender, you want to come in as a competitive player, I feel like that as a competitive player spender, it might be difficult for you to catch up to the older players in the other server as long as they match you in the arenas or in the other events. I don't think they've matched. I think the arena right now is matched until server 1 to 5. I think the other servers are not in the competition, or maybe I'm not seeing them because they're too weak. That's why they're not there yet. But but honestly, we're able to see. I will tell you right now, because somebody's gonna quote me wrong. We are able to see some of the newer server players in the top rankings because as the game progressed, there has been a lot of people that quit in the game. And therefore, even Ian, the #1 player, have quit already. So of course, with him quitting, then we lose, ranking positions. Therefore, newer players can now catch back up. I am not saying that newer players can never catch back up. They can, but in a perfect world or in a realistic scenario, that when this thing goes global and people are actually going to grind it, players that are going to be much older, I'm not saying that it has to be server 1 to 5, players who are going to be older, let's say if they release like server 100, server from the 40th server will always be on top of those in the server 100. Because as long as there is no way to get faster progress, I think, with the research, I think is really going to hold them back, because everything is free game. And then at the same time, as you progress and you win those arenas, you're going to be able to get more upgrades for certain things, right? And it's just how the game is. So if we look into arena, the reward system in here, right, you're going to be able to get some steel. So this is huge, right? It's huge. So that is absolutely insane, because if you're never going to be able to take first place, you'll never, ever be able to catch up on your gears. And that's huge. No matter how much you spend, you won't be able to catch up. So that's one thing that I saw that is flawed. But at the end of the day, the game is absolutely great. I mean, I like the free healing. I like the combat system. I like that there is range system in here. Everything's great. But there is, of course, a flaw in the game. The magma is absolutely nice. You get some steel in here as well. So it's just that if you're a brand new player coming into the game, you will see very difficult situations when you get into the game, unless they change things up and adjust it for the new players to get some competitive edge towards to the older players. By the way, we're in server 3. If you're interested, let me know.